My name is Todd Crapper.
My name is Nick Dume.
And we are here to play some High Plains Samurai. Now, I had a character for a fraction of a second, but I have since made her disappear, so I'll put the description back over to you.
Okay. I guess Lou, not quite happy with the outcome of this interloper, especially into the rare situation of water on his land, kind of trudges over to the well, looking at it, almost distrustfully, hoping that something is not amiss. She didn't mess with the water. Looks for all sorts of stuff that could be wrong with it, but satisfied that she was just taking a small drink of water before disappearing. Starts to turn around, but then he notices on the ground as he's about to walk away a small tattered piece of redwood ribbon.
Now, what does Lou do next? And give me the potential you're going to use first.
Patience. The anger flashes in Lou's eyes and then dissolves quickly as he thumbs this locket as it cuts to on his hand. In one hand he has the ribbon, and one he has the locket, and he lets go the ribbon, which flutters away high into the storm. He then puts the locket around his neck and starts trudging back to the barn, thinking this is far from being over.
Nice. I like that.
Okay.
When he does, there is a very familiar sound that echoes out. It's just softly off in the distance, past the wind. And it is the sound of the triangle, just outside of his front door, being rung.
Lou, I'm going to probably choose my potential for shooting now that I know somebody's on my property, probably this prospector. And there is no way under any right that somebody should be on my land right now. So he takes out his trusty 6-shooter and starts trudging back towards the barn like he does, except this time, gun in hand.
Okay. Now that would be one detail. Do you want to add any more to that?
Another one is he gets closer, we'll say, through the sandstorm and finds a grandfather standing at the triangle there.
Ooh, nice. Because that's exactly where I was going to go too, so that's good. All right, and now we have a character for me to play into the scene. So what this means is that in this particular current round, Lou has provided a description. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide an outcome to Lou's description. Okay. And sure enough, it's at this point that as soon as Lou comes right around the corner, 6-shooter in hand, pulls the hammer back and aims. And then as soon as he sees this figure that the camera has not yet identified, whips the gun right back up into the air, and, to stop aiming at this person. And there is just this look of like pale horror comes over Lou's face. With the camera then pans around 180 degrees, and we see, as he no longer rings the triangle, we see that it is a very elderly, and behind him are 3, long duster wearing, cowboy hats sporting, spurs on their boots, good old fashioned cowboys who are watchdogs. The old man is standing there, and he has a little bit of a smirk on his face. He then takes the metal wand that he was using to ring the triangle, and he just kind of says, almost like, someone lecturing a child, and just gonna, be careful where you point your toys. He then looks over towards the front door to Lou's house, and one of the watchdogs kung fu kicks it in. And from inside the house, we see grandfather standing there in the doorway. He then points kind of inside with the metal wand and says, "Aren't you going to invite us in?" Now, that was the outcome.
Sure.
I'm now going to provide the description from grandfather.
Okay.
And I'm going to use it with his intimidating word potential that has 2 details. So right away, grandfather just walks right inside the house and begins to look around. It is a very, simple, rustic-looking farmhouse. Bits of sand have blown its way into the house. It's an eternal kind of thing. It's a wood floor that's got sand and whatnot blown across it. There's more from the entrance than there is over towards the back. But now with the door just being left wide open like it is, there's more of it. The wind is kicking up. And we get a very quick montage of the various bits of memorabilia and just the items that Lou calls home to get a sense of his place of retreat. And then as grandfather walks in, he just basically kind of begins to look around. He just touches a few objects almost with disdain, noticing the poverty that you live in. And he looks over in the far corner and he sees that there's a quite comfortable looking rocking chair, to which he goes over and he helps himself. As he does, he then kind of he raises one finger up and he makes a circle motion with it. And the 3 watchdogs that are with him begin to just move quickly and efficiently throughout Lou's house. And in the other rooms, you can hear them overturning things and knocking stuff over. Whether or not they're looking for something or looking for someone, or simply doing it just because they're pricks. And as this commotion happens and Lou is now standing in the doorway to his own house, I'm going to presume he would even take it and he would even close it to keep
as
the
much
storm
as
out.
Possible.
Exactly, yeah. That's when grandfather says, "Come, Lou, sit next to grandfather. We have business." Now, that is my description. You can provide the outcome for that.
Lou, of course, settling into his old ways as a watchdog, obediently snaps a stool and sits in front of grandfather, looking expectantly at him, but knowing that this is usually not a good occasion that grandpa comes to your house.
Okay.
He tilts his hat back and goes as far as to put his leg up onto the stool and kind of leans forward and goes, "What do I owe this pleasure to?"
Now, that is the end of the round because both the characters have now provided descriptions.
Okay.
So as a result, because I was the last character to provide a description,
Okay.
I get to choose who starts off next.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose myself.
Sure.
Because that sounds like something grandfather would do.
Okay.
Grandfather reaches, and grandfather is actually very well dressed. In the process of moving over to sit down in the chair, he is actually taking off his own duster. And as he does, he is very richly dressed. Very Western, definitely for the times. But everything about it is very highly detailed and ornate and personally stitched and fits him perfectly. He almost looks like he's, dressing to be a barber. But the barber who owns the entire community and got that way because he had so much blood spilt. There's some kind of a sinister thing going about this, yet he looks so frail and innocent at the same time. He walks with a cane, and his back is hunched over. He's almost hunched back, but everything about him has this menacing persona about it. He reaches inside the duster that's actually been thrown over the rocking chair, and he pulls out paper that has been folded up into thirds. He then takes it and he just basically hands it over towards Lou. And as soon as Lou takes it, he says, "I've come to give you an offer, my friend. I've decided this is no place for an old watchdog of mine to retire. You're not a farmer, Lou. You never have been, you never were, and you never will be. So I've decided to take it upon myself to relieve you of this burden and to give you a retirement more fitting someone of your stature. I think you'll see there that the offer is more than reasonable. Now, that is my description, so you can provide the outcome for that.
So, in my thinking there then, grandfather handed Lou a piece of paper, and Lou doesn't even look at it. Lou hands it back, and he says, if I remember correctly there, grandfather, you there handed me a piece of paper here about 10 years earlier saying that this land is much more befitting a king than a watchdog. I'm much happier here than anywhere else you can hand me, with all due respect, sir.
Ooh, okay, now is the part where you can give the description for Lou.
Okay. My potential, of course, is going to be patience. Mm-hmm. Knowing that I've aggravated grandfather, I then slink back, knowing that his retort will probably be either violence or most likely a menacing word or two, trying to get his way. I then kind of ready myself, looking around at all those 3 duster coats that I know that are in my room, my house, and try and kind of move, not like get up off the stool, but kind of lean back a little bit, so he could just probably see the hilt of my my 6-shooter there. Mm-hmm. Then I'd say Lou. That's my first detail, I'll say. Mm-hmm. The second will probably be he then leans back even more, kind of looking back to the left and the right, kind of wanting to know if these guys are going to clip him or not after he talks back to grandfather, but leans in closer and says, look, I don't want any problems here. I've had enough problems with the grass this time of year. The water collection isn't what it used to be. I know I haven't been good on my payment here. But look, if you remember anything about me, Lucky Lou here, as I hate to call myself that, always is lucky in some sort. So just tell me how I can make it up to you, and you don't need to take my land, and yeah, I don't need to be disrespectful or anything.
And I have the outcome for this actually take place at that moment when Lou leans back.
Sure.
And just kind of, looking to see what the watchdogs are doing at this moment.
Yeah.
This is when we get an idea of the chi power that Lou tapped into years and years back.
Okay.
Because we see that he looks down at the hallway, and that's where there's like 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
That one out to the left and one to the right of the hallway. There's a flash of white light, and everything all of a sudden goes kind of black and almost kind of slow motion blur kind of effect, in the sense of that we are seeing something that is not seen by normal eyes. And then it's at that moment that we then see one watchdog come out of the one room, and another one comes out of the other room, and it's just like at the ready with hands, close to their 6-shooters. There's another flash, and suddenly we're looking at the hallway normal. And then it's at that point that we see one watchdog step from the one room, and the other watchdog step from the other room, and they just kind of put their hands next to their 6-shooters. Exactly as Lou predicted just a few seconds before. Right? So that would be the outcome to that. Now, that was your description. For the next round, who do you want to start next?
I'll go, since Lou has seen where the dusters are. He's a little bit more calm. Usually the dusters would rush in if there was a plan of some sort to hurt Lou. Lou gets up and says, look, I can even help you with this. You've given me a deed a long time ago saying that I have utmost right to everything found here, above land, and below land here. Look, I'm just trying to wait here so that my family can come visit me at some point, when they're done in the mine, of course, grandfather. we could all be a family here. And look, like I said, I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything. The deed's just over here. And he reaches behind grandfather's rocking chair. And I guess that's where I'll end my...
Ooh, so tempting. The outcome to that I'm going to give is that as soon as Lou goes and reaches over, sure enough, then that's when there's a pair of 6-shooters that are kind of drawn out there at the ready. But right away, grandfather raises up his hand, to stop them.
Yeah.
You then see the third watchman, who was also in the other room because there was still this banging and commotion going on. He comes around and he raises 6-shooters, just between the heads of the other two. But he stops as well. And then that's when grandfather stops and turns around and looks. And sure enough, in a frame, covered over with a little layer of sand dust, is the deed. And at the very bottom, and it just slowly zooms in towards it, is grandfather's signature, which grandfather even uses a couple of fingers to kind of wipe away and ensure and to reveal. And it's with that then grandfather... Well, we'll have that be the outcome for it. As grandfather turns, and he's going to use his wise beyond his years potential for this. He stops, and he looks right over at Lou, and just starts to give him a glaring look, as if, how dare you could insult him like this. But then all of a sudden, he just kind of starts rocking the chair quickly again, and he has a big grin on his face and says, you have a point, Lou. A man's word is his word, and you and I have a written contract for this deed. So, snaps his fingers and slowly picks himself up. The 3 watchdogs snap right over towards his side, and grandfather, once he's fully standing again, says, then our business here is done. For now, if I decide that I change my mind with a better offer, I'll be back. And with that, he then points over towards the door. One of the watchmen opens the door for him, and they leave. And it's now noticeable that at this point, that just a little bit off in the distance, that there is a stagecoach drawn by 6 horses that are waiting out there for him. But as the last watchdog goes and leaves and gives Lou a bit of a look and then a wink and a little click out the side of his mouth and then slams the door shut. And let's end the scene right there.
Hi, this is Jason from The Gauntlet. If you enjoyed this episode of Comic Strip AP, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We have many other Comic Strip AP shows available, each organized in their own sequential playlist for easy listening. Just go to youtube.com and search for Gauntlet RPG.